Welcome to the King William II Stadium in Tilburg as England's women continue their preparations for next year's European Championships with a friendly against the host nation, Holland. Mark Sampson, who has been absent during the preparations for this game due to paternity leave, has overseen a 9-match unbeaten run since narrow defeats to both the USA and Germany during the She Believes Cup back in March. And the Lionesses will be keen to end another successful year by extending that streak into double figures. And this match also doubles up as a familiarisation exercise for the players and staff. England will meet Portugal in this stadium during the group stages next summer, following matches against Scotland in Utrecht and Spain in Breda. Sue Smith is alongside me, and Sue, this has the makings of a really good test for England.
It really does, and I think that's a game that England need to play. They need to play against teams that's going to test them, that they can practice their different systems, their formations. Players can play, whether they're used to playing in centre midfield, sometimes they play centre half, and in these sort of games you can try those things out. So yes, Holland, we know, are a good team. They're a very much an improving team, and I think it'll be a very exciting game, hopefully.
And talking to Mark Sampson earlier today, England, of course, will be considered in the top tier of European teams following their exploits at the World Cup. But Holland are probably in the group behind them, and that gap is now very tight.
The gap is narrowing, and again, that's down to other teams getting better, getting more money into the game so that they can train more, and I think that's important, because you want that competitive game. You don't want teams winning 7-8, 9-0, which has happened in times, but all of the teams are getting closer. There's no real runaway teams, and yes, England have moved up into that top nation, but I think it's still competitive whoever they're playing against.
Well, matches between England and Holland have often been tight in recent years. A Rachel Yankee free kick was the only goal between two matches during the qualification for Euro 2013. As the two sides come out, these two sides also met in the semi-finals of Euro 2009, and England on that occasion won after extra time thanks to Jill Scott. But there's a good deal of enthusiasm across the Netherlands for the Women's European Championships, and that's reflected by what we've seen already in Tilburg this evening. We will now pause for the national anthems. van den Berg, the captain of the Netherlands, and there are 4 changes to the side, which lost 3-2 in Belgium on Thursday, and the veteran Lois Hertz is back in goal in front of Reading's new signing Van den Berg. And other WSL-based players are Tessel Middag of Manchester City and Liverpool's Shanice van der Sanden. The Netherlands really underachieved, rather like England in the last European Championships 4 years ago. In Lieke Martens, their main striker, they do have players of considerable quality. And there also are a number of youngsters making their way into the side as well. And Shanice van der Sanden, who wears number 7. A familiar figure to many in WSL, and she is incredibly quick. And Hertz comes back in to win her 111th cap, made her debut 11 years ago. Vandenberg and Steph Horton, familiar foes. And our referee this evening is from the Czech Republic. And Mark Sampson has made 2 changes to the team which beat Spain. Izzy Christensen replaces Gemma Davison on the right, and Tony Duggan comes in for Nikita Paris as the lone striker. It's 3 at the back once again. 6 of the starting 11 play for the champions Manchester City. And it does seem, Sue, 3 at the back at the moment is the favoured formation.
It is, and what we like about Mark Sampson and his England team is the fact that they can change formation, they can change system game by game depending on the opposition, and they can even change within a game. But I do think 3 at the back, he's liking that formation. I think the wing backs are something that he's played with a little bit. Gemma Davidson has played there in the last couple of games, and he's now going to try Izzy Christensen, I suspect, as that right wing back. So it'll be interesting to see how she does, because usually for Manchester City she plays in the middle, in the number 10 role. So it's a bit of a different position, playing out wide to centrally.
Stephanie van der Graat of Bayern Munich is the player wearing the mask this evening to protect a facial injury, and Tony Duggan back to lead the England attack. Scored 10 goals in the World Cup qualifiers, but failed to hit the back of the net during the qualifiers for Euro 2017. And Jordan Nobbs, of course, England's Player of the Year. And this is a big opportunity for Izzy Christensen as England look to finish another very impressive year by extending their unbeaten sequence to 10 unbeaten games. And it's the Lionesses in all white with red socks, playing from right to left in the first half. Jill Scott with an early touch, quickly forward. Bronze operating on the right-hand side of the back 3, although of course with Danny Stokes as a left wing back, they do have the ability to switch to a back 4 should they need to. Early touch for Linef Beerenstein, one of the youngsters who has come into the Dutch team since the World Cup. Now Horton, who scored one of the goals when England beat Spain by 2-1 in Guadalajara last month. Helped on by Stokes, looking for Carney. And that was there to clear. And what is a bitterly cold evening in the south of the Netherlands, not too far away from Eindhoven. Carney, good footwork from her. Stokes will try and fasten on to this ball. There's Carney in support. Now Duggan. Just levered off it by Van der Graat.
That's straight away that Karen Carney's just dropped into that. You'd like to say that the top of the diamond in midfield, so she'll look to be getting on the ball and feeding Tony Duggan. Tony Duggan is the 9, the lone striker. She's going to have to really hold the ball up and bring players into play, which she's got the ability to do.
England do have a wealth of options in the striking areas. Nikita Paris played there during the victory in Spain. Eni Aluko, of course, who was the top scorer in WSL last season. Not even in the squad for this one. There is Carney. And it's an early effort from her, which is gathered by Hertz.
Karen Carney looks like she's on form already in the first couple of minutes. Very good first touch there, and she's looking to have a strike early on. That's what you want to do. You want to test the keeper.
Here's the first opportunity for Shanice van der Sande to show her pace, and she is extremely quick, and that's a very dangerous ball in. And England may be slightly fortunate there with Berenstain unable to get the touch at the far post.
They need to be really careful of that, because the Netherlands, both sides, very, very quick, and they'll look to attack, especially with England only playing 3 at the back. They've got those spaces out wide to exploit.
Well, I had a chat with Mark Sampson earlier on today. He was saying that stopping the cross was the key to this game, and that's an early reason why. And he's got the free kick. It seems to be a problem for the Dutch player who made the challenge. It's Rennie Slegers who has stayed down. Very quickly she seemed to be suggesting there may need to be a change.
I don't think there was any contact there. Whether it's a hamstring, really cold night. But you could see straight away she was signalling to the bench. That's not nice to see so early on in the game. Well, at any point in the game, but...
Well, Arjen van der Laan, the Dutch coach, has had injury problems building up to this game. Viviane Miedema, who was one of their mainstays over many years and scored against England the last time these two nations played last year, she's unavailable. And the Arsenal player Danielle van der Donk also not involved in the squad, having played against Belgium. And this doesn't look good at all.
She's the Karen Carney of the Netherlands. She's the player that'll get on the ball and make things happen. And without Danielle van der Donk, I think they may struggle in that position.
Arjen van der Laan, still relatively new in the role as Dutch coach, replaced Roger Reiners, who took them to 3 of the previous 4 major tournaments. He was replaced following the World Cup. Slegers looks to be heading straight down the tunnel.
Such a shame, isn't it, when a player gets an opportunity because of an injury for Danielle van der Donk, and this happens.
Free kick, looking for Horton. Van der Graat was able to help the ball away. Now Spitzer. That's dealt with by Demi Stokes. And the Dutch still playing with 10 men while they sort out their change. The 10 players. Van Lunteren with the throw-in. Van der Sande once again gets beyond Demi Stokes. Berenstain is waiting in the centre, and for the second time in the opening 5 minutes or so, the cross is beyond her.
She's a real threat down this right-hand side. She's powerful, she's strong, and I think since she signed for Liverpool, I think she's really come on as a player. I think training every day has really helped her fitness-wise, a game understanding, and she's like a real danger.
The Dutch replacements are still warming up. With it being such a cold night, they'll be keen to ensure that they're ready to come on. Van der Graat. Everything coming for the Dutch down this right-hand side at the moment. Van Lunteren. There's a mistake though. England will look to profit with Carney. Spitzer with the challenge. Van der Graat was also involved. Karen Carney gets to her feet rather gingerly as well. And the injury to Rennie Slegers has really robbed the game of any early tempo. Berg. Berenstain the target. Lucy Bronze gets there first. Scott. Amy Stokes will be keen to receive the ball, heading towards the Dutch goal after what she's seen from Van der Sanden so far. Horton. Touch from Duggan, doesn't quite link up with Scott. Manchester City have half a dozen players in the England starting lineup. Tessel Middag also beginning in this game for the Dutch. Van der Graat. Holland were bitterly disappointed to lose to Belgium for the first time in 16 years on Thursday night. They led twice in the game before an injury time penalty to go down 3-2. Van der Sanden. There's a problem there for Potter, who's been pulled out of the centre, and Van der Sanden does pick out a teammate this time with a low effort gathered by Bartley. Lieke Martens with the shot.
Well, Holland are causing all problems down this right-hand side. Van der Sanden, like I say, she looks really up for this game. Her first touch, she's always looking to pressurise the defender. She's wanting to get into the box, and this time she does find a teammate, but Martens can't quite get any power on that shot. But England need to tighten up defensively.
Ellen Jansen is the player who will be coming on shortly. Horton. Stokes winning the header. Van der Graat got there first, and now the change will be made. Ellen Jansen comes on to win only her 6th cap. Plays for the reigning champions in the Dutch Eredivisie, Twente Enschede. And she was a scorer in the recent 7-0 win against Scotland. That was a surprising result for all sorts of reasons, because Scotland have been going well and the Dutch don't usually score so many goals.
No, it was a real surprise result, and you think you can't really look too much into friendly games sometimes if Scotland were trialling new things, but it would definitely have given Holland a real boost in confidence.
Here is Scott.
Not so much for Scotland.
Well, of course, England against Scotland is the opening game for both nations at the Euros. And that match will be in Utrecht, the Galgenwaard Stadium, one of the larger ones being used in the European Championships. It should be a terrific occasion. Knob's doing well to tidy things up. Now Potter. And it's interesting, the 3 central defenders, of those players, you've got Lucy Bronze, who usually plays as a right back, and Jo Potter, who usually plays in midfield. Yeah,
you're right. Jo Potter, I think for predominantly all the games for Notts County, she played centre mid, so she can play left of the 3 at the back, but she's not played that in the WSL. She's obviously there for her ability on the ball, her passing range. I think when you play at 3, you need somebody that can do that, and she has got that ability. But again, just trialling new things.
A challenge made by Jade Moore. Well, Lieke Martens convinced it should have been a Holland throw-in.
Jade Moore's key to this system as well, just sitting just in front of the back 3 and protecting them.
Here is Potter once again, who, like Jade Moore, left Birmingham City to sign for Notts County midway through the WSL season. Bronze really likes to get forward, but ran into trouble there. Beerenstein is the player who has now stayed down. Martens, neat footwork from her. And she's got support. Van der Sanden on the chase, and Potter had to make that, and so too did Horton. Now Carney.
Come on, Dan. Back it up, Dan.
And Potter is the option. And in the end, the move breaks down, but here is Stokes. There's Nobbs in support. Carney. Duggan making the run to create the space, and the effort from Carney just bouncing awkwardly in front of Lois Hertz.
Carney's doing well finding those little pockets of space, and Holland just stepped off her. You've got to, I think if you're a defender there, you've got to say Karen Carney is one of those key players that's going to shoot from range, but no one closed her down. Jo Potter did so well there just to intercept that ball through.
That's the danger from Lieke Martens. Of course, for so long Holland relied on the pace of Maren Mellis, who scored the vast majority of her goals due to lightning pace, but she's now moved on. And we should also say congratulations to Mark Sampson, who recently became a father. And I think he's enjoying the trip to Holland to get a decent night's sleep.
I think he is. I think he's had 2 weeks of not very much sleep, so he's come away for a break probably.
Well, Marianne Spacey has been taking charge of preparations before England made the trip over to Holland. Of course, somebody of vast experience, and probably somebody who Mark Sampson has leaned on at times.
Oh, definitely, and it's a good opportunity for her as well to actually lead the team. I'm sure he will have given his advice and what he wants training session wise, but for her to actually take the lead is good for her.
Horton. Lucy Bronze usually spends most of her time in the WSL games in the opposition half, but not so far tonight. Jade Moore is penalised. Lieke Martens is somebody who would like to be the main striker, but she does have the licence to drift and just take up those pockets of space.
Yeah, she does. She's their best player. So I think that's what they'll say. They'll say get on the ball, whether you're out wide and you can cut in, or whether you are that central striker. They look to her to make something happen.
Andy Vandenberg. Touch from Janssen, but they'd eventually win the ball back. Nobbs and Moore are finding it hard work at the moment to try and dominate the midfield area. Potter. And advances there to intercept. And the flag's up against Janssen. Although Van der Sanden would argue she was the player who was onside.
That was a great ball through as well. Just couldn't hold a run. Van der Sanden, you can see she's complaining because she was the player on side who would have run through, but you can see straight away what Holland are trying to do there. They're sitting back, they're allowing England to have the ball in their own half, and then when they get to a certain place on the field, they press, and they press with intensity, and England are struggling to get the ball out at the moment.
England have won 8 of the 14 meetings overall, but they've usually been by the odd goal. And having had some pretty soft games, it must be said, in the qualifying campaign, it's good to have a really good test.
And that's what they needed, because it was too easy. Qualification, I think Belgium was probably it was their toughest game, the 2 games that they played there. But I think when you go into these friendly games in the build-up to a tournament, you have to play competitive football that you know is going to be difficult, you know it's going to test you, and that's what he's done. Obviously playing France.
2 0-0 draws against the French. And the away wins against Belgium and Spain have probably been the toughest conquest in that 9-match unbeaten run. Scott finding Christensen, who's found it difficult to get involved in the game so far. Spitzer. Now Janssen. There's time for Van Lunteren. Van der Sanden again. And Demi Stokes has got a real problem to solve there.
She's been pegged back a little bit despite playing wing back. She's had to drop a little bit further to try and help Jo Potter out. You don't want Jo Potter getting too wide.
Good ball from Carney though. Now Scott. It's the right idea. Jordan Nobbs making the run beyond. Carney's done well to win the ball back from Middag. Scott just unable to gather the ball in stride. And Jade Moore will be penalised. And it's Martins again, who's the player who's coming deep.
Actually quite a clever foul there from Jade Moore. Knew that she got past.
Berenstein going beyond Bronze, and the dangerous ball in towards the near post area. Turned aside by Karen Bardsley.
Well, Honda looking really dangerous, both sides. So they've got that pace, they've got that power. When you play three at the back, that's what, as a manager, if you were the Dutch manager, you would say, get at them out wide. That's where the space is, and that's exactly what they're doing. Whether England need to reassess this formation.
Well, at the moment, with Stokes so deep, it is effectively a back four anyway.
Yeah.
Van der Graat, one of the players forward. Vandenberg also tussling with Stokes, and the referee has seen something she doesn't like. And Olga Zadanova calling Vandenberg and Stokes towards her. Karen Carney also involved. And there's plenty of height in this Dutch team. Van der Graat makes the run towards the near post. England are able to clear now. Martins. Nobbs with an important interception. And here is Stokes. Carney. Van Lunteren was too strong on this occasion, and that's neatly done as well. And England have been second best so far in the opening 20 minutes. Van Lunteren.
I think Holland were disappointed with that result against Belgium. I think they want to put it right in front of their home crowd. As well, to put on a show for the Euros, to say come down and watch us.
That win in Scotland was their only success in their last 4 games, although they led the USA for a long time before losing 3-1, and they also were better than a 4-2 defeat suggests against Germany. So they are a team who have improved a good deal since going out of the World Cup in the round of 16. They were beaten by Japan, and of course being the host nation will always give you a lift.
Yeah, of course it will. And they are, like you say, getting better every game, and they've got a lot of potential, especially going forward. And now they have a style of play which I think they probably didn't have 5-6 years ago. They try and build up from the back, and when they go forward they do go at so much pace.
And they have Norway, Denmark and Belgium in their group, which looks fairly competitive.
It does. It's tough to pick a winner out of them.
And Mark Sampson was saying that in the past we knew who would win the European Championships. Germany, because they always do, but this time there could be maybe 5 or 6 contenders.
Again, which is so
And
good
England
for the
are one
women's
of
game.
those.
Of course they are, yeah. And I think that the mentality that England have got now and the belief that they've got, I think beating Germany in the World Cup was a massive turning point, because we just hadn't ever beaten Germany, and every time you played them you expected to, how many we're going to get beat by today, and they don't have that mentality now. They believe that they can beat anybody, and that's why they are genuine contenders.
Mark Sampson does give them licence to think for themselves and create leaders within the group rather than imposing formations and styles of play on the team. Works his clearance, well done by Van Dongen, and then Carney thought she was offside, but as the final touch was off a Dutch player, she probably wasn't. Christensen, runs by Van der Sanden, who's now trying her luck down the left. Bronze, now Moore. Van Lunteren. Dutch playing the ball around with some confidence, and that's well judged by Steph Houghton following the deflection. Potter. Christensen able to find Scott, but once again England unable to really make an impression on the Dutch penalty area. Van der Sanden. Berenstein will try to harry Stokes, but England have the throw-in. And of course Manchester City have also been involved in Champions League games over the past few weeks. How much will their players have developed with those?
Yeah, that's what you want to do. When you play club football, you win the league, you then want to go on and you want to play Champions League football, and Man City have done ever so well. Watching both of their games, I think they've improved as a team collectively, I think, and testing yourself against other teams, best teams in different countries. I think it's going to help you as a player.
Tony Duggan scored that brilliant goal against Bromby to help them through.
She likes a worldie, doesn't she?
They have Fortuna Huring in the quarter-finals in the new year. And the winners of that game will play either Lyon or Wolfsburg, and maybe we'll have the opportunity for Manchester City to see how good they really are.
Yeah, definitely. But I think they've got a good draw next round. Again, it'll be another tough test, but there's no reason why they can't progress, but then it's going to be difficult.
Here is Houghton, captain of club and country. Potter. Duggan does well to find Carney.
Duggan's been very, very isolated. Every time she gets the ball, there's 3-4 Dutch players around her.
Here is Carney once again. That is a good ball. Here is Stokes. He probably needed Duggan a bit further forward there. Now Carney. Towards the target, Vandenberg. And Spitzer will prevent the corner. If England can get Karen Carney on the ball more, there are always possibilities.
Of course there is, yeah. She is their creative player, but I think when Tony Duggan does come in and receive the ball, she just needs a midfield runner going in beyond, whether that is Karen Carney or whether it's Jill Scott, Jordan Nobbs, just somebody in and around her. She has been very isolated, and I think you've got to give credit to Holland for that, the way that they have defended.
Duggan coming deep once again, but finding Stokes. Carney waits inside the penalty area, but Van Lunteren makes the challenge. Stokes once again. Cross is helped away by Vandenberg. Now Martins. Van der Sanden in space to her left. And here is the Liverpool player, Shanice Van der Sanden, but Jill Scott got back there well. Van Dongen.
It's a good initial break from Martins. Again, lots of pace. She just couldn't play the ball into Van der Sanden's path, because I think if she had of, Van der Sanden's pace would have got them away. But England got back well.
Van Lunteren. Moore is able to clear. It's good centre forward play by Duggan to initially hold the ball up and then win the free kick. And of course, Tony Duggan scored that goal against Germany back in March during England's most recent defeat.
So pleased that she's actually got back into the squad. Such a real shame she got left out, but it shows the type of person, character she is. She worked really, really hard, played well for Man City, and she's got that call up and she's back into the starting 11.
It's a nice touch from Carney, and here is Duggan once again, almost beyond Van Lunteren. England offering a bit more of a threat in the final third now.
Yeah, much better.
Carney. Potter. And now Jade Moore. And it's a goal kick. If there is one issue for England against the major nations, it is scoring enough goals, because we've seen in the competition in America last year, we saw 3 really good performances, but just the 1 goal. And even in the game against France recently, another good performance against a very good team, one of the best in the world, another 0-0 draw. Is that progress in some ways, though?
Well, against the top teams, of course, you need to score goals. You create maybe 1-2 opportunities and you have to put them away, and that's the difference. So I think that's something that England are learning. But I think the fact that they're now competing with the best teams in the world is progress. That is the difference.
As Mark Sampson was saying, there are more competitive games now. Germany drawing 1-1 at home to Norway earlier on today, and they had to come back and equalise in that game. Here is Van der Sanden, Berenstein and Janssen waiting in the centre, and here is Janssen, and that's a decent block from Bronze. Now Spitzer, fisted away by Karen Bardsley, and Bronze had the presence of mind to find her goalkeeper once again.
Van der Sanden's been outstanding. Every time she gets the ball, you think something's going to happen. And again, she hasn't just got pace, she's got that vision at the end of it. So she looks up, and this is a very good ball into a dangerous area. Lucy Bronze, well done. Right place, right time. And then to have the ability there to just really coolly just head the ball back to your goalkeeper. But I remember watching Van der Sanden a few years back and thinking she was just pace. There was no real end product at the end, but now she's really developed that to her game. An outstanding player.
Stokes. She was one of the main reasons Liverpool had a far better season than many people thought they would do.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, she's really key. She scored some very good goals as well in the WSL.
Van der Graat. And they come through to Van der Sanden once again.
What did I just say about end product?
Well, that's the first mistake she's made.
It is.
Berenstein on the other side. Neither of England's wing-backs are really getting the opportunity to get forward. Ian van der Laan will be happy with the start his side have made. Scott's touch. England appeal for handball against Vandenberg. Janssen. Martins. If Van der Sande makes the run inside, there's nobody out on the outside. But here is Martins again, found by Van Lunteren. Spitzer. Middag. Finding Van Dongen. And that's another good ball in, and there's a lack of pace on the header from Martins, but she was unmarked.
She was unmarked, and again, that's something that they need to address at half-time. Players are getting into positions. Nobody's picking them up, but very good interchanging of positions from the Dutch, the front three, and even the midfield runners. They're very good when they go forward.
Now Scott manages to ride a couple of challenges. Christensen. Duggan with the overhead. Almost broke for Nobbs. Here is Carney. And she's beyond Van Lunteren. Possibilities here for England. Carney's cross looking for Scott. And she was just reaching for the header.
Unlucky. Good play from Karen Carney. Got herself into a good position. You can see what she was trying to do, play the ball to the far post for Jill Scott to come onto, but just not enough pace on the cross for her to be able to generate any sort of power. Good play though. It is a shot. Yeah.
Made her debut against Holland way back in 2006. This is her 114th appearance in the RAP. A number of centurions in this England starting lineup. Here's Van der Sanden. Berenstein almost on the end of that. Bronze did just enough. Christensen. Walton just has to scamper. Duggan beaten to it by Van der Graat. Here is Stokes. That's the defensive side of Van der Sanden's game. Bronze. Time for Stokes. Duggan makes the run towards the near post, but it's beyond both Carney and Nobbs.
It's better you get Jordan Nobbs, you get that midfield runner in there. Demi Stokes could have just whipped it a little bit more. That's what you want players running into the box.
The strength of this England team. Wirtz has a problem. England thrown in the end. Well, a number of big names waiting for their opportunity on the bench. Stokes. Duggan able to keep the momentum going as Holland have the free kick. Players like Laura Bassett, Alex Scott, Farrah Williams, Nikita Parris and Jodie Taylor, all available to Mark Sampson later on in this game. And it might be the sort of match where someone like Jodie Taylor, with her physical presence, could have an impact in the final third.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't see Jodie Taylor, because she's obviously had an injury this season. I think it was an Achilles injury that's kept her out for a lot of games, but came back in the WSL for Arsenal, played against Doncaster and scored 2 goals. She's just that type of player. She's a natural goal scorer and somebody that can hold the ball up and bring other players in. So yeah, I think she at some point she will come on. Or I'd like to see her come on.
Spitzer. Now Van Dongen. Berenstein's quick, but not that quick.
Yeah, you look at the players on the bench, you look at players that are still at home, the likes of Enya Luko, Katie Chapman, Ellen White, Frank Kirby. There's so many names there. It's going to be a real difficult decision, I think, for Mark Sampson to pick his squad. Nice to be in that position.
And he will pick players based on form.
He will, which that's all you can ask for as a player. If you're playing well, he'll pick you.
Duggan beaten to it by Van der Graat. Tony Duggan looks so much more comfortable when she's given the ball on the ground in the channels.
Got to play to a player's strengths, and that's her strength.
Spitzer. Van Dongen, who plays for Ajax. Side who are currently 5 points clear at the top of the women's Eredivisie. Rather like in the WSL, the big clubs have eventually come to the party in Holland with both Ajax and PSV Eindhoven starting women's teams in recent years at a significant level. There are also a couple of Bayern Munich players in this Holland team as well, which shows you the perennial strength of German football. Christensen. Now Scott. She's won the free kick following the challenge from Spitzer. Potter. Strong challenge on Carney, but here is Martins. This time Van der Sanden unable to exploit her pace. And now she fouls Karen Carney. Maybe a tactical tweak from Mark Sampson as we head towards half-time.
Trying to work out what he was saying.
Well, he does like to try and give the players responsibility, and at times in this first half they have had to sort things out, basically.
Yeah, and I think that's a good thing that he allows players to do that, because he can only say so much before the game. So I think during a game as a player you have to have those leaders that do take control.
Spitzer, that's given away almost. Good recovery for Midag. And Lunteren. Dutch, like every team in Holland, do like to try and play out from the back, so a higher press like that one from Christensen will give England some joy. Bronze. Christensen. Now Duggan. Ball in the end beyond Nobbs and not too far away from the far post.
But when England play the ball 1 and 2 touch, that's how they're making things happen. If they take too many touches on the ball, Holland straight away are around them, they're pressurising them, making it difficult.
Bronze. Long from Horton. Too long for Stokes on this occasion. I'm sure Demi Stokes would appreciate more protection on this side, but often she's been one-on-one against Van der Sanden. Van Lunteren. Luka Martin, somebody who's played right across Europe at some of the biggest clubs and scored Holland's first ever goal at the World Cup finals in their win against New Zealand, and they eventually qualified for the round of 16 for what was a very dour group when they won 1-0, lost 1-0, and then drew 1-1 against the host nation Canada. Of course, there were a few hammerings in the World Cup, but the overall quality of the 16 teams at the Euro suggests we'll see games, many of which should be a lot tighter, as Van der Sanden does well to rob Horton. And stepping in was Bronze. Stokes is able to clear. Middag with the initial ball forward, but here is her Manchester City teammate Stokes. Carney.
Can't take too many touches on the ball.
It's a very cold night, and it does seem to be a very lively surface. Last time England played in Holland, in Zwolle, it was an artificial pitch, but this one is natural grass. Moore. England may finish the first half on the attack. Scott, Christensen. Watch win the ball and play their way out of trouble. Janssen. She eventually wins the free kick. Ellen Janssen's done well since coming on.
She has again. She's been given an opportunity through injury and seems to be taking it so far.
The free kick finds Van Lunteren. Van der Sanden waits in the centre. Aaron Bardsley able to prevent the corner. England have not prevented too many crosses coming in during the first half.
No, and if that's something that Mark Sampson's been working on in training, I'm sure he'll have something to say at half-time. Holland have looked very good going forward. Created a lot more opportunities at goal than what England have. I think their passing needs to be better, crisper. I think they need to move the ball 1 and 2 touch, because when they've done that, they've got themselves in good positions.
And here is Carney, probably England's best player in the first half. Moore. Christensen. Scott. Now Carney. That's the right idea, but just a bit too heavy. But once again, England have been hard to break down. Luka Martins has led the line very effectively for the Dutch. That is half-time, and it's been a very decent exercise.
It has been a decent exercise, and I think Mark Sampson will have a lot to say at half-time. I think whether he'll change his formation, his personnel maybe slightly, because I think Holland have probably had the better of the first half, but England, as we know, can come out as a completely different team in the second half and produce some quality moments.
But England have been up against it for much of the opening 45 minutes, but they've been able to stand firm. At half-time in Tilburg, it's Holland 0, England 0. Welcome back to Tilburg as England come out for the second half. 0-0 the half-time score. In this friendly building up to Euro 2017, which will be held in the Netherlands. I'm sure Mark Sampson had words to say at half-time, Sue Smith, because we know England can play a good deal better than that.
Yeah, definitely, and I think defensively, I think they've got to get tighter. I think they've got to stop the likes of Van der Sanden on one side, and I think Martins has been controlling it in the middle as well. So I think defensively they need to be tighter. I think when they go forward, they need to keep possession more. They need to move the ball quickly, and again, that's something we know that they can do. So it's not a challenge for them. It's just something that they need to try and implement in the second half.
No lack of motivation in that pre-second half huddle. And England will have a number of warm-up games before the Euros start in mid-July next year. There's the potential for a couple of matches in April. Italy have been spoken about as potential opponents. Izzy Christiansen will be featuring in the second half. I thought she may have put on the tracksuit there. Shanice Van der Sanden has been the player to watch in the opening 45 minutes. And Ellen Jansen, who came on to replace Renee Slagers in the opening moments of the game, gets the second half underway. The Netherlands in all orange, attacking the goal away to our left, and here is Van der Sanden in the action straight away. And it's another ball into the near post area, but Jansen, who had restarted the game, just unable to get there in time. Here is Nobbs, and Carney. Stokes was looking for Duggan to make the run, but Van der Graat got there first. That's an important header away by Potter. That's looking to open out the play. Moore. Duggan's touch finds Scott, who will try and release Christiansen. Rita Spitzer with the challenge. Here's Bronze. We know how good a player Izzy Christiansen can be, but England have not really played to her strength so far.
No, and I think it's difficult when you're used to playing centrally as an attacking player to play wing-back. It's a totally different way of playing, and I think she's just trying to get used to that. And she's been pegged back quite a lot, as has Demi Stokes on the other side, so you've not really seen her at attacking qualities. I like to see Izzy Christiansen more central, more involved in the game.
Bronze with a long throw, and the bounce of the ball beats Duggan. Gemma Davison was played in that role on the right-hand side against Spain. Of course, Alex Scott is on the bench. He has been the first choice right back for so many years, but she does have the speed to operate as a wing back.
She does. You've got Alex Scott, you've also got Lucy Bronze, who's playing as the, in the back three, who can also play as a right wing back. I just think he's trying different players out in different positions to see how they fare against top teams.
Christiansen will chase once again, but Mandy van den Berg gets there first.
I do think when you go into tournament situations, I think to be versatile like that as a player and as a team, it's so important.
Scott, a player who's also adapted her game in the past couple of years. Bronze, just beyond Carney. Mark Sampson, very much an advocate of the squad game.
Yeah, he is, and every player can play in a lot of different positions. When You know, when I was playing for England, it was very much I was a left-sided player, whether it was left of the front three or left midfield. You know, there was no sort of central role for me or anything like that, and it was pretty much the same for a lot of the players now. They can play anywhere. If you're a footballer, you can play wherever, and it's similar to, you look in the Spanish game and the Brazilian game. That's what they do.
And Dongdon, the player who was limping. For the consoling word by Mark Sampson. Van Dongen did seem to make at least 5 or 6 yards there. She meandered forward. And eventually the Dutch give the ball away. With the throw-in. Scott just levered off the ball by Beerenstein. Christensen does well. Now Bronze. It breaks to Horton. England will start the Euros in Utrecht against Scotland before the game against Spain in Breda. And of course the Spanish beat England in the Euros 4 years ago. Here is Stokes. Duggan waits in the centre. But that's a good challenge from Van Lunteren, but England have their first corner.
That just started from a fantastic ball from Karen Carney there. Demi Stokes making that overlapping run. Just wonder, could she have crossed it a little bit earlier? She took a little bit of time to steady herself before she whipped the ball in, but good break, good run. More positive for England at the start of the second half.
Robs will take the corner. Horton was the target, but arriving was Van Dongen to clear. Potter. Scott. Here is Beerenstein. But England winning more of the second balls at the start of the second half. Carney. Scott able to make the run. But she can't pick out a white shirt. Here is Janssen. That's an excellent challenge. Recovering from more. And England playing more of the game inside the Netherlands half at the start of the second half.
This is better from England. They look sharper as well into the tackle.
Tilburg, one of 7 venues which will be used in the Euros. And the final being played in Enschede, the home of 20. Which holds around 30,000, so the Dutch organisers have picked sensibly sized venues.
It's an important exercise as well, the fact that England have actually come here before the tournament, have a feel for the venue, and just being there. I think that helps. When before we went to China in the World Cup, we went in the January, and just so it's not so much of a shock to the system when you go out there into the tournament. It's that familiarisation that'll help the players.
And of course, it's not a long trip for the fans either, unlike Canada. I'm sure there'll be plenty of England fans travelling to Holland during the summer. And expectations have been raised after what happened a couple of years ago. Middag. Van Lunteren. Also with the interception. Van der Graat. And Van der Sanden. Despite plenty of Dutch pressure, Karen Bardsley's only had a couple of saves to make so far. There's more. Knobs finding Tony Stokes. And one thing which would have maybe disappointed Mark Sampson more than anything else in the first half was the quality of England's passing, but it's been sharper at the start of the second. Midak just holds up Scott.
Two Man City teammates there. Know each other really well.
Tessel Midak wasn't really able to impose herself on the City team, was she?
No, she wasn't able to get in. I think she would have liked to have played a lot more, but when she come on, you could see her qualities on the ball, and I just think that the midfield of Manchester City was so difficult to break into, really. She was another option for Nick Cushion if he needed that.
Duggan on the chase. Look at that, finds Hertz. He will to win that back ahead of Van Dongen. England have the opportunity to build once again. Horton straight to Spitzer, but won back by Moore. Look at the strength of the Manchester City midfield with youngsters like Stanway and Corbars also around. It's frightening, really, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, they have a lot of strength in depth.
Here is Christensen, who came back from an injury mid-season to really impress for Manchester City on the title run-in. Mark Sampson eager for Jordan Nobbs to get forward, I think.
Yeah, I think it was.
Horton. Losing out. There was an opportunity for Martins. Van der Sanden was the target, but it was well read by Potter. Scott beaten to it by Van Dongen. Here is Berenstain. And she gets the free kick. Olga Zadanova wants it taken again.
I just thought that was good defending from Lucy Bronze. She just seemed to get a body in the way, really.
Sharina Spitzer is over the free kick. Van der Graat will be one of the targets. Van der Sanden lurking as well. She now comes back on side, and the clearance falls to Van der Sanden. And England will be relieved once again.
Yeah, because again the ball just fell to her on the edge of the box with no pressure around her. I've seen Van der Sanden score goals for Liverpool from those areas. It's quite intelligent, started offside. Just a clearance, but nobody's anywhere near her. Just let back as she was about to hit it. It's a let-off though.
The Dutch have the ball back. Here is Martins. Every time Martins gets on the ball, Van der Sanden is the target. But England get the free kick this time. Make their first change, and it's a very interesting one, with Jodie Taylor coming on to replace Jill Scott, so could be two up top.
Yeah, I think so, and I just think Toni Duggan was too isolated up there. She was having to do a lot of work all on her own, so I think to have somebody like Jodie Taylor to to play alongside. She makes so many intelligent runs.
She will almost create the space, although it may be a 4-3-3, or certainly even a 3-4-3.
Yeah, I tried to work it out.
Here's Moore. She slides in again. It's an England free kick.
It looks like maybe Karen Carney's come to the right-hand side, Tony Duggan to the left. Jodie Taylor as more of a central target player, if you like.
We've seen Chelsea use 3-4-3 very effectively in the Premier League recently. It does put a good deal of pressure on the midfield duo in the centre.
Yeah, we've got to get through a lot of hard work, but they've both of them fit players, they can do that.
Bronze. By Berenstain. That almost gets her first touch. Tony Duggan has often played as a wider striker playing for Manchester City, so she does give you that flexibility as well.
Yeah, she does, and she'll get on the ball on that left-hand side, cut in on a favoured right foot.
Van Dongen. Spitzer. Taken down well by Van der Sanden. It's a goal kick in the end, though. Good crowd inside the King William II Stadium tonight. The city of Tilburg, which used to be the wool capital of Holland, is also where Vincent van Gogh learned how to paint. Travelogue over as Holland have a throw-in. Spitzer. Now Martins. And Van Lunteren. Both the fullbacks like to get forward. Van der Sanden. Spitzer. And Martins was trying to hold off Horton. I don't think Horton was too impressed with the way she went to ground. Nobbs. Here is Martins. He's got the ability to be one of the poster players of the Euros with the way she plays. Taylor. And that's what Jodie Taylor brings to the team, the physical presence to ruffle Vandenberg and get the free kick.
It's a good play from Jodie Taylor. Knew she couldn't really get much from it. Managed to turn.
That was the earlier challenge, or non-challenge.
Yeah. Steph was just holding her ground. Probably told her to get up at that point.
So Jordan Nobbs is over the free kick. The Dutch just about clear the ball away before Duggan's effort. And it may have taken a deflection. Overall, it's been much better from England in the second half.
Yeah, much better. Possession-wise, they're keeping the ball better. Which I thought in the first half it was a little bit scrappy.
Nobbs with the corner. Works to Horton. It's time for Nobbs to size up the cross, and she wins another corner.
I just think it might be a set piece or a moment of brilliance that might win this game.
The Netherlands were undone by a couple of set pieces in the second half against Belgium on Thursday, when they led 2-1 and eventually lost that game. Nobbs with a deeper corner this time. Moore was looking to challenge, but as she jumped into the challenge, she concedes the free kick. Jill Roord is preparing to come on for the home side. She was the top scorer in the Eredivisie last season with 20 Enschede, the reigning champions. Wilson does well to win the initial header, but here is Christensen. Taylor, a handful for Vandenberg once again. England convinced the ball went out of play, but Orange will have to deal with this. Stokes. It's taken down superbly by Duggan. Brilliant from Tony Duggan. Taylor in support, but Duggan goes alone. Hertz is able to make the save. And the Dutch eventually scramble the ball clear. But that, Tony Duggan at her very best. Now Carney.
Well, that could have been that moment of brilliance that I was speaking about. What a first touch that was. Lovely bit of skill. That's brilliant. Just sets her on a path. Completely wrong foots the defender, and then she cuts in. She could have actually squared it. Karen Carney was just at the side of her, but I think as a centre forward, you've got to have a go there. Probably the better option was that square pass, but I think because she created it herself, you can't criticise her for having a go. That would have been a great goal.
Here's Spitzer. Does make a difference, Jodie Taylor, by simply being there and forcing the errors. England create opportunities. She
will work all this second half. She'll close defenders down, she'll make their life difficult, and like say, just make them make mistakes. She does make those unselfish runs, which does create space for other players.
Jill Roord will replace Lika Martins, who was excellent in the first half, but rather faded in the second.
We're quite happy that Martins is coming off there, because every time she gets the ball, she looks like a threat, like something could happen.
Midag also requiring a change of footwear. Demi Stokes. Duggan. And staying with the clearance. Vandenberg. Who will be a very good signing for Reading next season, having moved from Liverpool.
Just shows Reading's intent next season, signing a top player like that, and I think one of the main reasons is probably she could play centre half on a regular basis. At Liverpool, she was often playing out wide. That really strengthened their defence.
There's Vandenberg. And of course, there's also a strong Arsenal contingent in the Dutch squad. Daniel van der Donk not involved tonight, but Dominic Janssen also on the bench. Van der Sanden losing her pace once again, and Steph Horton has to concede the corner.
I think that just shows how quick Van der Sanden is, because Demi Stokes is quick. She's just managed to beat her for pace and get that ball in again. She's had a very good match.
Having had a good spell, England now have to defend. That makes the run to the near post along with Mittag. Horton with the clearance, Berenstain into the crowd, and it hits Carney. And here is Nobbs. And the first involvement for the teenager. Clearance beyond Carney. Joby Taylor closing down. Los Hertz. Mittag. Van Dongen. Janssen finding Van der Sanden. Spitzer. Ball ricochets off Van der Sanden, almost drops to Janssen. And it's all a bit untidy. Here is Spitzer once again. Now Van der Sanden. Clearance from Horton. Mittag. Well, he tried to run the ball away, but now there's pressure on Christensen. Here is Bronze. Berenstain, Bronze with the challenge, and a good one. Carney. Taylor. Christensen. Just needed to be more on that. She may get a second opportunity. Christensen once again. And strikes Mittag. And here is Spitzer. And the game beginning to get stretched in the final 20 minutes or so. Here is Van der Sanden. Roord. Spitzer. Janssen. Roord finds Van der Sanden once again. It's another early delivery, and Christensen at the far post didn't know where Berenstain was. And she could have done with a shout.
She could have, but they've got to get closer to Van der Sanden. You can't allow her so much time to whip a ball in like that. But you're scared to get too close because you know she's got that pace to get in beyond. Let's just try and prevent that cross coming in.
And it's Berenstain, now replaced by Siska Folkesmart, who comes on to make her debut. 19-year-old striker from PSV Eindhoven. Corner into the near post area. It's cleared at the expense of another one. Spitzer's delivery once again. It's a fine header away by Bronze. Spitzer's second ball in takes a deflection, and the final header is a simple take for Bardsley. Ellen Jansen with the effort. Horton. Cut out by Van Dongen. Now Roord. Van Lunteren. Jansen. And it's Roord with the effort. The clearance from Horton. Only finds Mittag. And we know where the ball is heading. Here is Van der Sanden. Spitzer. England are able to deal with that situation. It's quickly launched forward, looking for Jodie Taylor, who could be in. And England have the goal. Jodie Taylor once again. Tony Duggan with a brilliant assist. And on a freezing night, an ice-cold finish from Jodie Taylor.
Absolutely brilliant from England. They had to absorb all of that pressure from the Netherlands. They were having the better of that part of the second half, and they just broke. And this is good play. Initially win the ball, Jordan Nobbs. What a ball that is to Jodie Taylor, and what a run straight down the middle. Cool, calm. That's what she can do. She's effective, she makes those intelligent runs, and then when she gets into that area, she's calm. She just lobs the goalkeeper. I'm not sure the goalkeeper knew that her defence was beaten and had to come out. But what a lovely finish, clinical. Good to see Jodie Taylor back.
That's what it means to the manager. Jodie Taylor with her first goal since the World Cup quarter-final. And that was a pretty tidy finish as well.
She's got the ability to do that.
Gilly Flaherty has now come on to replace Tony Duggan as England look to see this game out. And Jodie Taylor's 6th goal for her country. And of course, they've been spread over some years, but she does really give this team another dimension. She
does, and I spoke earlier, when you play against a good team, you might get one opportunity and you have to put it away. She's had one opportunity and scored. That's the difference.
It's Van der Sanden. England don't stop the cross. Roord. Now Holland have to chase the game. Spitzer. Van Lunteren's cross. This time gives the ball back. Here is Van Dongen. Fulkersmar. Roord who makes the run in behind. Fulkersmar once again. Bronze with the challenge. Into trouble. It's given away by the Dutch. Here is Christensen. Good challenge by Van Lunteren.
Really impressed by the Dutch physicality and athleticism all over the pitch. I think that's something that they've clearly worked on.
Well seen by Potter, but she needs to get back into position. Here is Roord. Vandenberg. Van Dongen. Roord. Mittag. Roord once again. It's Carney stepping back to make the challenge and win the ball. Flaherty using her goalkeeper. Nobbs. Christensen doing well. And here is Midag once again. As England close in on what would be a notable away victory. This would have been ground out, but that's often what you need to do. Van Dongen. Barnsley able to gather. And France really had to labour to beat Spain by a goal to nil over the weekend. We've seen Germany draw 1-1 at home to Norway tonight. The number of difficult games in Europe is increasing.
It really is. It doesn't matter how you win. Sometimes you have to win ugly, and it's not been England's best performance, but the fact that so far they're in front, I think, shows again how much they've progressed as a nation, that they can grind out results.
Here is Carney. Mark Sampson was telling Jordan Nobbs to get forward more in the second half, and it really worked in the build-up to that goal. Carney makes her way to this near side. Farrah Williams is the player who comes on to win her 157th cap.
It's not a bad replacement, is it? Farrah will just look to get on the ball and keep it. Talk of players with vision, she's probably one of the best. Finds Christensen now playing in the central area. Looks like Farrah Williams will hold alongside Jade Moore. Busy once again to get the free kick. She'll just be hoping and praying she gets an injury-free spell in the spring series, in the build-up to the Euros. Yeah, that's all she needs, because we've seen her quality tonight. The fact she gets that opportunity, she puts it away very calmly, and that's what you need from a goal scorer. But it's an all-round game.
Nobbs with the free kick. Walton was challenging Farrah Williams. Bronze. Strong play from her. She's been penalised. A challenge on Folkesmar.
I think Jodie Taylor will have looked at this game though and thought, I have to come on and impress, because there is so many good centre forwards now that Mark Sampson's got to choose from.
Van der Sanden playing the ball forward to where Van der Sanden usually is. So this would be the 10th game unbeaten for England. Taylor. One more. Stokes has Christensen ahead of her. Walton. Here is Spitzer. And Van der Sanden. England have done well at times to try and show her inside where she can be less of a threat. Vandenberg. She slipped, but still managed to find Rod, who wriggles away from a couple of challenges. And eventually finds Van der Sanden. It's another dangerous delivery which England just about help away, but the danger hasn't passed. But it has for now. The final effort from Sherida Spitzer. This will be 4 defeats in 5 games for the Netherlands. Chosen to test themselves against some of the best teams in the world. Possibly shown that short in some areas. There's still time to save this game. Van der Graat now playing up front. Middag. Van Dongen. Now Valkensma, but England have the throw-in.
They'll be probably quite happy with their performance, though, the Netherlands. I think the fact that they've got a lot of key players missing as well. When you look into the Euros, I think they're probably in a good position at this moment in time.
It's how they deal with the pressure of being the host nation, and we saw it affect Canada during the World Cup, didn't we?
No, you're right, and that is a real pressure. Some teams seem to cope with it very well, some not so much.
On the angle, we build up. Get after it.
Taylor chasing once again. Clearance not convincing. Moore. And Vandenberg. Lucy Bronze steps in ahead of Van der Sanden and does well to get the free kick. I think Lucy Bronze has done more defending in this game than she did in the whole of the WSL season.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. And she showed that that's what she can do, because we know Lucy Bronze from Man City loves to get forward and make things happen as a right wing back, really, but defensively she's also really solid, knows where to be. She's got that athleticism to be able to get back and recover. Yeah, she's a very, very good player.
England under 4 minutes away now from what would be a great way to finish the year. Rood. And Van der Sanden. And the effort fired over by Van der Graat. And she knows she had time to measure the opportunity.
She could have done better here. Again, good spot from Van der Sanden. Sees the running into the middle of the park, and she actually had time to compose herself. From an England perspective, you've got to be able to be aware of that player coming in and get tighter.
There's a stumble from Potter. And it's Horton to the rescue. Christensen. Stokes' clearance is charged down. Here is Van der Graat once again. The ball will come back from Van Dongen. Van der Graat challenging. Bardsley is able to gather. But the Dutch have given up on the subtle approach, and Van der Graat will cause problems. Scott will come on for the final few moments. She was over in Papua New Guinea as an ambassador for the
Second ball.
World Under-20 World Cup. This is coming to an end this week as Woodak's ball forward is gathered by Bartlett. Well, it doesn't win the ball, but it does break to Moore. Hobbs was looking for the earlier pass. Monteran's clearance. Now Spitzer. Potter did well to read that, but here is Roord. Now Van der Sanden. And the deflection off Potter will win the Netherlands a corner. Everybody forward for the Dutch. And Dongan waiting at the near post, and Roar challenging. And the final touch was off her. And it's a goal kick.
Appealing for a corner. It's definitely a goal kick. It was a good decision, actually.
You want to make this up right now.
Alex Scott will come on to win her 136th cap. Eventually, 3 minutes of added time. England want to make the change, but the fourth official not allowing them. Christensen. It's well read by Vandenberg. Horton is penalised for the jump on Van der Graat. Oh, Samson absolutely livid as they try to replace Izzy Christensen with Alex Scott.
Don't see that very often from Mark Sampson. He's really frustrated, I think, with the officials there. He wanted to make that sub earlier on, wasn't allowed.
Now they're making the change while they're defending a free kick.
Yeah.
Scott not yet in the penalty area as it's taken, but nothing comes of it. It's Van der Graat winning the ball yet again.
There's enough England players there surrounding, covering, just to make sure.
Scott will take the throw in. England have been penalised. It's been a rather untidy finish to this game, but England still have their goal, still have their lead. Horton's clearance. Now Stokes. Hobbs. She was caught as she played the pass, but here is Van Dongen. Van der Graat again with the flick on, but Flaherty able to effect the clearance. Vandenberg. Van der Graat's flick on. And there's a chase and it break to Volkersmark. It's the youngster with the effort. And that was the opportunity to equalise.
We always say there's going to be one last opportunity for either team, and I think that was the chance. Gilly Flaherty managed to just slide in and maybe put her off. Van Baarle, right place, right time. It's difficult for a keeper when you've not had much to do to remain concentrated, but she's managed to do that when she's been called into action. She's She's done her job well.
Here's Williams. Williams unable to keep the ball in play, but he's gone beyond the 3 minutes. Here is Jodie Taylor, supported by Nobbs. Now it's Scott charging forward down the right. Able to link up with Taylor. And here is Ruud. Is there one final chance for the Netherlands? Ruud is shown the outside by Potter. And it's a goal kick in the end, and that surely is that. Jodie Taylor really making an impact from the bench. As England finish the year on a winning note, it's now 10 matches unbeaten. Jodie Taylor with the only goal, 15 minutes before the end, showing her value to this England team. And a really hard-fought display comes up with a very notable victory.
It really is, and I think it was a very difficult game for England. I think the Dutch made it hard for them. I think going forward they created different things that England had to solve, and they managed to solve it. I thought second half England were much better. I thought crisper in the passing, and then a little bit of quality from Jodie Taylor, which was the difference between the two teams. But they've got the win and 10 games unbeaten. Nice little break now over Christmas, and then back on it for next year.
But there are things in that performance for Mark Sampson to work on, which, if you come away with the win, is a good thing.
Of course it is, and I think he will work on those things, and I think to be able to grind out the results, I think I said earlier on, is something that England have managed to do now. Even if the performance maybe isn't the best performance that we've seen from England, they've still managed to win, and that's what sometimes you need in tournament situations especially, and the fact that he's given other players a chance and the opportunity to shine.
So England continue their preparations for the European Championships with a fine victory, full time in Tilburg. The Netherlands 0, England 1.